communicate with anything specifically. And I don't really want to ask if anything has anything specific to communicate to me. But when I go in on the board, my first thing is like, hey, I'm introducing myself as a mediator. But because I've always been really open to whatever, it's easy for things to communicate to me.
Part of it is because like I said, I don't open myself up to look for anything. I don't ask for anything for any kind of response. Doing that kind of undoes all that work, because as soon as you start, it's kind of like if you go into an auditorium and start yelling around, somebody's going to come and look to see what the hell's going on.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter that the doors are closed. Eventually somebody will walk by and you're like, what's that jackass doing in there?
Yeah, the way you put it is the way I see it. When you turn on the beacon, you're lighting a lamp in a dark place.
How do you know when you've turned it off?
You're attracting them.
And you might not see anything, but they'll see you.
That's the thing. It's like
they will see you even if they don't answer.
You could use it tonight and not get anything for 6 months, 6 years, 60 years. But then something shows up because it could take it that long to notice.
But it's on top of that, because there isn't likely to be a concept of time. It doesn't matter when the light got turned off or when you played it, the light was still on.
It's like I said, that's why I would, when I was there, I was just there. I don't even remember if I was touching the board or not.
Right.
I was just there with my friends, and I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I didn't ask any questions. It's like one of my friends said that when she asked what was there, it just overlaid a picture of itself on her face. And I was like, that's great for you. I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, you might have been tripping, but I didn't notice.
Yeah. Have you ever had one tell you to pray?
Just be good.
The only time I did this, and I was a little kid, I shouldn't have done it, with a couple of my friends. Again, a handmade board. I don't know why I did it, and I should have known better.
You don't want them handed. You don't want them handed down. Nope. You don't want it given.
And he told us his name. He told us, he was asking about us, and we didn't really.
Do you remember the name?
It
don't say it. Don't
no,
say
it was
it.
A
but
man's
do you
name.
remember it?
It was a man's name, and I don't remember. It was very short. And
it was Greg.
I was like, don't say it. Oh,
it wasn't. No. But he was. Yeah, it was a man's name, and as he was just making conversation, we asked him what he wanted or what we should do, and he said pray. And as we asked him what do you mean, he just said pray and pray. I don't know why his spirit would tell us that, so I was like, all right, either way, I'm leaving.
How old were you?
Fourth or fifth grade. So,
how was your faith? Because I know you said at one point you guys were, all your family was religious.
My faith, I think if your faith is stronger, they follow you more.
Right.
I was a child, I really don't know, but I had always been very into believing in God and things like that. And,
because I know that if I saw a board say that to somebody, I would think it was a trick. Mm-hmm. I would think it would be trying to play on any doubts you had in your own personal beliefs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Probably, because actually I wasn't the only one there who was religious.
Right.
And, you know, there were several others. There actually were 3 of us, and we knew we shouldn't have been doing that. So yeah, it was playing with us, and that's it really.
Was that the last time you played?
Yeah. I knew from then on, and after I told my mom, and she was like, you know better than that now, at least. And never again did I touch or follow or try to do any of that again.
I think that one time was the only time I ever used one.
Probably.
And I told Betsy about it like years ago when I was with somebody else. Said, do you know where Dragon Marsh is? Over in Riverside?
It's that witchcraft store in Riverside.
The board that you got from her?
Yeah. They had this really nice piece of granite that had a laser etched Ouija board on it and a matching
planchette.
Yeah, it was like this big, like 30 pounds.
That's insane. I don't know if I'd want that.
It's like, I got it for her and I gave it
back. Like, take it back. I was like,
oh, wow.
Because I didn't think, I just saw that it was nice.
Right.
I didn't think it through, because she was pagan at the time.
She was pagan.
So she was like, no, it's not even in the house.
She was pagan.
She understood the stuff.
Yeah. And I was like, because I hadn't thought through other than that it's a nice gift.
Right.
I hadn't thought through all the way to the end of it. It's like, oh, right. It's made out of stone, which is bad. It's permanently etched in there, which also isn't good. And if I'm giving it to her, that's also not good.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a...
And for her to understand, I mean, if you're pagan, you're a white witch, pretty much. Or, well, no, that's Wiccan.
Yeah.
But pagans understand that there's so much more to spirituality than...
It's like I said, I hadn't thought through that final part of it about what would be going on with that.
Right.
So it's like, I have a really nice tarot deck, too, that I've never used. But I got it for free. It was a gift.
Right.
And one of the reasons I got it is it's a really beautiful deck. It's a Salvador Dali deck.
Will you sell it? Salvador Dali is my absolute favorite artist. I have an entire part of my leg dedicated to like where he's gonna be at.
It's the ones. If you look them up, it's the one with the gold leafing around the edge. It's in a little velvet lined box.
Okay, so I will be in touch about that.
I've just been holding on to it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
If you go to buy them new, they're 100 and something.
Ridiculous.
And, or at least the last time I checked. And like I said, it was a gift. So if I wanted to use them, they're
Not gonna be a good thing to play with.
yeah. And the designs on them are really pretty too. And the instructions that came with it are in English, French, and Spanish.
Tarot
So,
cards?
yeah.
I want to do that. That's what I was telling you.
I have a deck here, but they belong to my ex-boyfriend who passed away, and after he died, they started just giving nothing but bad fortunes. So we have them hidden somewhere, and I don't know where they are. Willie knows.
So
Good.
I remember I went to. I think I took them with me because for a while, my ex's older sister did a lot of circle stuff. So I think I took them with me and had them blessed too. Same thing with
Just to make sure.
yeah. Same thing with my swords.
You had him blessed?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that really nice
He
one.
said he's having fun.
Okay, cool.
So we're not like
We're not
keeping him or
harshing his
nothing,
memory.
right?
Well, he's ready to go, but he's still enjoying himself, so it's not like he's like, dude, pick me the hell up, you know?
Okay.
We're not
Well,
rushing his mellow.
because if they're gonna play Thing, then I'll probably have to say goodbye to you
Well,
too.
I mean, how comfortable would you be with playing outside?
Probably better than in here.
I generally would play outside anyway. We have played in here before, and I always close out the board in a very like stern way, so I don't think anything is.
How about
around.
this? How about we don't go all the way up to GH, but we go to, the lot before we go up the little lippy-doo to go up the hill, and we go there, and we sit in the back of your truck.
How do you feel about this?
As long as it's not around
We're not...
Maybe just to the end of the street.
See, my only concern with it is because she hasn't ever played.
This
I
might not be good for her.
don't think it would be
No.
good to go somewhere where other things could bounce in when something else might already be present enough to want to communicate. Not that anything is allowed to directly communicate anything that is not,
Yes.
anything that's specifically, at all, anything specific is not allowed to communicate with us. But I don't think it's a great idea to go up and deal with anything that might play.
It's like,
What about just like a park?
there. Anywhere not.
Not
Up
up there.
there.
Up there.
Or anywhere close.
oh,
I just have a bad feeling up there. I have a
Have
bad
you
feeling.
ever asked yourself if it's a good decision to do that?
Yes. Yes. Countless times. And it's always no. It's always a no. I know I'm not
I keep
supposed to be
telling
doing
you,
it.
yeah.
I know.
You're lighting a lamp. You keep lighting that lamp over
Same.
your head, and
I mean, really, with anything like that,
You're opening
your
doors.
safest bet is if you know how to put a circle up, call something, politely ask something to be in there.
That's
get
how
that in
the
there.
goat head got there, because someone called it to protect them, and they never told it to go away, and now it's up there fucking with people.
No, because what you do when you do that is you're asking something to come into the circle with that so that you can talk to it. And if it shows up, great. If not, you just call it a night and go home.
Well, the thing about Ouija
Because
boards,
that way you're only getting a particular set of answers.
well, that's just it, is how I've come to understand what to do as a mediator on a Ouija board or on any type of communication device, is you're not going in personally, you're going in solely as a mediator. I am a medium for the quadrillion spirits that are passing through right now, that are just flowing through the air. Anything and everything is possible that isn't visible to us. So when I flip this board over and I'm using this two-dimensional realm to ask if anything wants to stop in and have a tea, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, you don't have to stick around. Is there anything that wants to chit-chat while you're passing through? And I've played at parks before where I talked to a young guy who was like, I didn't live here in my life, like in my human life, like I was a human once. I came here once with a friend of mine and got high, and I just was passing by. Nice to talk to you. I'm gonna go though. And I was like, it was rad talking to you, man. It's kind of cool that we got to catch you when you were at this place, and I'm glad you had something here, you know? And he's like, there's no meaning other than the fact that I got high here once and I'm passing through. And I was like, dude, this is wicked. Well, great. It was great talking to you. Is there anything else passing by that'd like to come to this two-dimensional realm? And understanding that it is a two-dimensional realm, that you do not have to give anything permission to come through. Like, it's like everything surrounding us could be something. And it's like, do you want to come and look through this one-way mirror for a minute? And it's like, oh, hey, you are literally stuck on this piece of paper until I release you. Which is when I'm like, okay, it was great talking to you. Have a pleasant whatever. Goodbye. If they say goodbye to you, they left that realm and there's no way they're going to be able to come through. If you didn't properly let them know that this conversation is over, there's a possibility that they're stuck there and they're getting angry, which is when you open that door. Exactly. They might leave and always have a piece of their spirit holding on to that two-dimension and always be dragged back there.
Or at least their attention.
You know? And that's what I'm saying, is if you're not closing down that realm, it's open. And that's really, every time I've played, I've known that I could pull something BAD. You know what I mean? Like, it might not be pleasant. And if it intentionally wants to come out and that's why it stopped by your realm, that's what you're opening the door to. But a good majority of the time, you're just a medium for them to communicate with the worlds that they are not a part of.
I think the problem is that it really is just like fishing. You don't know what's on the other end of that.
Exactly. It could be a fucking shark or it could be a fucking tire. You know?
Yeah.
And I think a big part of why so many people see the evil that it's capable of is because they're only looking at the evil that it's capable of.
Plus their expectations and intentions.
Intentions are huge with this.
Color what they're doing. Because, I mean, if you're going, like you said, if you're just asking for it's like asking somebody to fill out a survey at the mall as opposed to, like, chasing somebody down with your car.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, if you're being polite and just asking for random attention and you're being
hey, bud, do you want to hear about this petition I'd like you to sign?
Yeah.
Oh, no? Okay, have a great day.
As opposed to, like, running like I said, chasing somebody down, your intention in it changes it. Like I said, for me, the difference is that I'd put more effort into making sure
you're
what's
getting
going
something
on
out
there.
of that
It's
experience.
like if you're going to make something, like you guys were saying, out of paper, when you're done, burn it. Well, after you've made sure everything's done, burn it, because that closes everything off.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It turns it into ash, which means that that's an entirely different form. Like, you think fire is, it's not a solid, right? It's a gas. So you think you're taking something from solid to gas, and you're changing up that realm. The proper disposal of a Ouija board is to wrap it in a blanket, take it to the fucking desert somewhere with nobody else around, bury it somewhere that you're never gonna fucking remember you buried it, because you're not taking it from its solid and releasing anything that might still be there, but you're closing off any way of it ever communicating with you again, or anyone who's ever played it, because they don't know where the fuck it is and neither do you. You're not taking it out of its solid form. And it's your best bet, especially if you think something's holding onto your board or paper, because I burned them before and it fucked me. Like, shit went bad after that. That's when things really went crazy in my apartment. You know what I mean? Oh.
So funny.
But
Easily distracted.
no, I was like, oh my god, a cat. Like, what, really?
ADD strikes again.
You know? Did you have a squirrel? I like squirrels. But I don't know. I think a lot of it also has to do with, like, I mean, it's not only just your understanding, but it's also like, how willing are you to open a door that you're not entirely sure about? Because although I do understand a lot about it,
Make sure
You
close
don't
it.
know if
Yeah,
you're opening it.
exactly.
You don't know if you're closing it afterwards. And
You
you
know
don't
you're
know what's
closing it.
happening in between.
you know that you're closing it when you close it properly. You just don't know what's out there and whether or not it can get through. You did what you were supposed to do by closing it out, but you really don't know what you're dealing with,
Well, because you don't
That's what
necessarily
the
know
issue
if
is.
whatever you're doing is going to follow the rules.
whether or not it can open the door if there's a fucking window open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now here's the other problem that I'm not sure if anyone can address it. Sure, you're inviting them into this two-dimensional realm. You're creating rules.
But do they have to follow
Do they have to
Exactly.
follow these rules? Are these rules that even have anything to do with them? Just because you say, because you created a rule doesn't mean it hasn't, has any power.
That's why,
Right.
like I said, I like the idea of putting some extra things around it.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's why when you see anything ritually going on, there's usually some sort of geometric shape around it. There's a lot of very particular forms that are, there are consistent forms to the people that are being followed and their expectations. And because those expectations are consistent, they have a little bit more strength to them than if you're just sitting, like I said, if you sit down and you're bored, some kid is bored one afternoon and makes one out of paper and is just being whatever, like,
Curious
ooh, look at me,
whatever.
be gone, then it has no, it's not the same as when you get a group of like-minded people together. You draw out a circle, you have your paraphernalia and your things there.
So
It's
in other
challenging.
words, the practice of laying something down and willingly creating a barrier helps you reinforce your
And the
strength.
consistency of it, and it has a commonality between all the people
Personally believe, like, which is why, like, with the people who, like, for instance, she hadn't played the board before. Like, I was the first person she played it with.
You're the only person I have.
She's the only person I played with. Okay, like, shit. Cool, that means, like, I set the bar, and hopefully no one, like, fucks that up for me, you know? Before I play with anyone, I explain to them what I'm doing if I'm mediating. I explain to them the expectations we have of ourselves and not of the board or anything that may communicate with us.
Mhm.
You understand your expectation of yourself is, although something may come and hang out with us, you expect yourself to not ever let anything in. You don't let that into you, and you make sure that if you ever feel anything, feel like anything is doing anything, although you cannot control it by saying you're not invited, you're building up your mental strength. You're putting this idea in your head that you are strong enough to make sure nothing comes in when you're like, you are not invited to stay here. In no way, shape, or form am I giving you permission to be a part of me. The thing about circles, stars, any type of shape or ritual, like I said, I'll explain it, because then you go in with the understanding of what you should not only expect from yourself, but, like, also what could happen. I think circles and a lot of the time stars, because a lot of the ritualistic shit you're going to see with this kind of stuff is, that's a trap. You're going in and physically opening the door by putting things out for it. You know what I mean? The most that I will do ritualistically is physical contact, because then there's energy for something to communicate. If we were to sit in a circle and do this intentionally in a circle, you put out into the universe that you're opening something up for them. Hey, I'm in this circle for you.
Mm-hmm.
Not, hey, I'm putting out a little bit of my vibration for you to feed on so you can communicate if you'd like to, which is what I'm doing when I'm communicating. It's like, so, like that body, like, warmth and shit that's coming off of me, you can have a little bit of that if you need it to talk, if you just feel like talking or having a Coke with us. If not, bye. you're sitting in a circle, or you're drawing something out, or you're putting salt circles, you can trap them. And you're also saying, I'm doing something, physically putting myself out of my way to bring you forward.
Well, I think
That's door
part of
opening.
why it's important. Because a lot of the time, well, the ones that I had seen would be that I was briefly involved in. There was almost like an itinerary. It's like, this is what we're doing, this is why, so that you have. It's like I said, that everybody's on the
But
same.
no one
page.
ever drew a circle of stuff or a star.
No,
Right, or like put
So
candles
they
in
knew
blood,
they
goat
knew the
blood.
rules too.
Yeah, because when
They knew the
it's
proper
like,
procedures.
part of it is you, like I said, you have your materials there, like your paraphernalia. It just covers everything, and you go around and you call the different points, and part of that is that you're calling specific energies to that point, and they're protective. Their purpose is to be protective of the people involved, and to make sure that what you're doing is positive. Because if you're calling protective energies, you can't be doing something bad, because
Right.
it won't work. And that's part of the circle. And then afterwards, you go backwards and you undo it and release those energies so that it's not stuck. It's not in between. It's not going to get pissed at you, in whatever
Because
degree
you
it
might have
can.
drawn it in, but you
Yeah,
also
because-
let it go.
Yeah, because that's the balance of it. Is if you call something there, you have to let it go.
Which
And
is,
what you're,
make
and
sure
it's
you're closing
important
it.
to maintain, understanding that what you're doing is benign, it's helpful, it's not hurting anyone. I mean, because to me, the best way to explain it is that you're making a request. You're not demanding.
Right.
You're saying, help me do this, or give me something to help me do that. But it's not a demand.
Right.
And it's usually something more internal. It's like, for me, with tarot cards, I never really used them because I didn't want to. I never really had the desire to. But for me, tarot cards, you're not supposed to be calling something and asking it questions. It's more or less talking to yourself.
Right.
That's why, part of it is that you're supposed to have them under your pillow before you use them, so that you're attuning them to you.
Right.
So you're literally asking yourself questions to get an answer, because if you say it out loud, it sounds weird. And it gives you better access to your subconscious sometimes.
Right. I think a big part, and that's actually like a perfect explanation, is like you're giving yourself a better better access to your
Yeah.
subconscious. I think the big difference between Ouija and tarot
Yeah, it's like it's more like a
tarot is you're
It's more like
borrowing
Twitter.
energy. Tarot, what you're doing is you're borrowing the energy outside of yourself to help access answers that you're asking of yourself or other people in this realm.
and part of that is when you attune it to yourself, because you're supposed to keep it under your pillow.
You're
There's other
feeding
things that you
energy
can
as
do.
well.
There's other things you can do to put with them to increase that energy transfer, so it makes it easier. It requires less effort, less energy to get a response, because when they're under your pillow and you're asleep,
Dreams are flowing into it pretty much.
they're right there, and if they're done correctly, they're open to being attuned. That's part of the gift process. Like, if you go and buy them, that's great, but if they're a gift, it's already been handed over. So the concept is that it's no longer attached to somebody else. It's supposed to reattach to somebody.
Right. And that's
And,
you giving it.
There are other herbs and things that you can do to help open yourself up to it being attuned to them, or you can put on or with the cards to help them attune to you.
That's
And
super
so that
geeky.
you don't have to ask
Yeah.
for any help. Because, like I said, you're literally asking yourself a question.
But I think
and
a
your own
big.
energy is doing the work.
We'll
Most
see.
of the grunt work of giving you an answer.
I think with the Ouija board, it's like, with the tarot cards, you're borrowing energy that you put into it also.
Yeah, it's more like
You're
a
the
bank.
one using that energy.
It's a battery, it's a bank, it's a
Right.
capacitor. It's something that's holding your energy, so that when you want to use it, it's there. So that you get the right answer for you.
What's more spiritual and also scarier about the Ouija board is it's something else borrowing the energy from you. rather than you borrowing it from something where like the bank that you put your energy into, and are borrowing
It's more
from.
like you're loaning it out.
Exactly. Whatever comes into this realm is borrowing whatever you're willing to give out.
Plus, my concern is I don't like things that are giving the answers that they want to give.
They're not answers.
Or
That's the thing.
they're
When you're playing the
responses.
board, those aren't answers. Don't ask it a question you want a serious answer to. I asked it, I don't remember what it was that I asked, and I was like, oh, are you playing with us? And it was like, yeah. And I was like, that's super awesome.
We asked if it was in the quantum realm.
Oh, yeah. And I think it said, like, yeah. And then I was like, seriously? And it's like, nah. And I was like, right on, man. Thanks for the honesty. All I ask is that you continue trying to give me that honesty. But still, I'm understanding that I'm not expecting honesty. Like, I don't expect.
there's nothing
I'm not
serious
going to
that
rely on
happens
any of
Other than a
this. Yeah.
conversation.
That's what it comes down to is what is truth. The truth of somebody else could be different.
Exactly.
The truth from somewhere else or something else can be different. So,
You could ask me what day it is, and I could lie to you.
yeah, it's like any question should be taken with a grain of salt because red vines.
Sorry, man. I was like, oh my god, I forgot this next to me.
It's like a wild red vine here.
This has been a
know,
very
right?
beautiful conversation now.
Also, red vines.
Red vine.
The only
No, thank you.
reason I'm so I won't do it is because of the whole thing that happened with my brother when I was little.
That's not fair.
No, he opened
And that's
the door
what
that he
leaves
didn't
that-
close, and it fed off of me. I was so much more open to it than he was, that it latched on to me for a very long time.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I don't want to do it because I don't know if some of the other people around are
gonna
that much
leave
more
something.
sensitive or that much less protected than I am.
Exactly.
So I may be able to handle it now, especially. I can probably sit here and go through the process and never feel a thing.
But it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, I don't want to feel responsible for someone else being followed.
For it targeting you and it not being able to get you, and then being like, well,
yeah,
I'll go to
and out of
homeboy.
anger,
Yeah.
someone over there looks like I can really do that over there. So
Right.
I don't want that responsibility, so I just... There's nothing that I need. There's nothing that I want to...
It's not worth the risk.
So I'm fine. Well, have you ever had your aura checked? Does it change colors?
Mine's a solid orange, but mine gets spotty sometimes. When I'm not
Does it get
spiritually okay, I get holes in it.
Just
Because holes, like not like it's not solid, but like it's less visible. Like
So does
it's
it get
not
muddy?
as strong.
There's a difference. If it gets muddy, it's one thing. That means weakening. But if you get actual holes in
There's
it,
not
like-
holes in it. Like it's just less visible. Like
But no other color is visible?
it might be like more opaque.
Who's looked at it? Someone who
I've had
knows?
people who were like
Aura looker readers.
apprenticeship kind of like spiritualist,
Yeah,
and I'm
you
like,
can
you
learn
are
to do it by training
super
your
crazy.
eyes. Yeah.
Well, I've done a little bit of research on it, like doing it myself, and I'm not that fucking open. But I've tried to look at it, and I've seen nets in my fingers, but they weren't ever orange. Like it was just like everything was connected from this like vibrating net. You know what I
It
mean?
pulses. When you're first learning, you'll
Yeah.
see a pulse.
Yeah.
And you have to just learn to focus not on it, but to the side of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like through
and
it and stuff.
you just refocus your sight and you'll see the pulse. And as the pulses come back, you'll see the colors, the
I'm
color
have to work
flood
on
into it. So yeah, the more you try it, and it is hard to try it on yourself.
Yeah.
Usually you can do it on animals. You
I've
can try
seen it on
animals.
plants, but I've always been very receptive to like the energy that I feel from plants. Like
Plants are always green anyway. Green or blue.
I've
They're-
seen the
they're clean.
vibration though. It's not necessarily the color because I'm not good at picking up colors like that, but I can see the vibration from it, the energy off of it.
That's another part of it is that what you're perceiving will be different because it's different from person to person. Because different schools of thought on it will assign different meanings to different colors
Right.
and what
They
you
will,
are
but
taught.
they're generally the same though.
Yeah,
They're
well,
just
because
that
it's
they
a pretty consistent concept of what different colors mean. But if you're doing it on your own, you may be seeing different kinds of vibrations, shapes,
Right.
Brightness. It could really be anything. It's like, what does a colorblind person see if they do it? Different shades of gray, different
Right.
different
What's happening
different
there?
intensities. You know, so if you're not good at perceiving colors, maybe look at the intensity of it,
Right.
where it's more intense or less intense. Like you said, if it's vibrating or moving, how much it's moving could mean something. Because if you can find a way to empirically see what different things mean, like you said with plants, if a plant looks healthy and its colors or shapes or vibrations are one way, and you see one that like bugs are eating the crap out of it, and it looks a different way.
So sad and trippy.
Yeah, or it hasn't been watered in a
Greg
while.
is a scientist, obviously. He's going to look at this empirical data
Well, because that way you can
as he analyzes
you can
the aura of
calibrate
the
it.
plant.
You can really,
I know, right?
You can really calibrate what you're seeing. Because if somebody tells you one thing or you're reading it online, that might either be the way they see it or they're just passing along something they've been told, or it might not be any accurate
It
at all.
may mean
Right.
nothing.
Exactly.
But you can still sort of tell, as a person who, so obviously I learned to catch colors, around people. You always put your own intuition into it, obviously.
Right.
So, and your intuition tells you that someone who has a blue haze around them means that they're doing a little bit better. He's blue all over. I can change colors. I looked at her once and she was green, which apparently means healing.
What am I now?
I haven't done it in for so long. I probably would take
You
forever
would have to
see
sit
it.
down and really
Yeah,
focus.
I'd have to stare at you for like 10 minutes before I can see
That's
the
cool.
color around you. But
I'm good to look
colors
at.
change, and that's why, the more you understand, the more you try it.
Who's under here?
Could
Is there a cat under? Do cats fit under here?
yes,
Okay.
They do?
I
the
was like,
ladybug might be under
You
there.
feel swiping hands?
yeah, I felt something like reach out on me, and I'm like,
There's two
freaking
over
cat,
there.
man.
Oh. Well, there's one right
Okay,
there.
There's Andre and Bug.
Okay, so whatever grabbed out you from under the couch
Not a
was
cat.
not a cat.
That we know of.
Well,
Yeah, that we
Shiva's
know.
right here.
I only have 3.
Oh, boy.
Where's Bug?
Big cat.
Dre's right there. Bug's over there on the table. So
You're just freaking out. Just
Where's
relax.
Penelope?
no, I'm not tripping, but I thought there was a freaking cat, man.
Where'd the dog go?
The dog probably got taken into the bedroom because she was whining.
Oh.